Hey everybody, so I'm back with another episode of Star Wars Discussions, and I know I said last time I was going to take a break from Star Wars, videos, unless there's something worth talking about, and if you look at the screen in front of you, this is something worth talking about, because this is what I've been wanting ever since Episode 3 ended. Ever since the ending of Episode 3, when Kenobi hands off infant Luke to Owen and Beru, and then walks off into the sunset, I've always wanted to know what happened after that scene. What happened when he was in hiding? Was he just watching Luke the whole time, or did he go on other adventures? Because I know there are books I read where he does go on other adventures. Next, he runs into other Jedi back in the expanded universe. I actually have the books in front of me. I'm going to show them in a little bit. So apparently this is the film that apparently is going to be the 2020 spin-off film after Not Solo in Episode 9, aka Episode 6 2.0. So it is in development. Nothing's been confirmed. According to this article, it says that a new report has confirmed Lucasfilm was already hard at work developing Obi-Wan Kenobi standalone film, spin-off film. Not standalone if it's connected to other trilogies. People just don't like using the word prequel. That's all it is. People are still scared of the prequels after all this time. Even when George Lucas is no longer involved, they're still scared crapless. And apparently, Academy Award-winning director Stephen Daldry is going to helm this spin-off film centered on Kenobi. Now, my thoughts on this, I'm actually kind of excited for this because unlike the Han Solo, which no one wants, there's stuff that goes on in Kenobi's history that should be shown on screen to some degree. You don't need Vader or Darth Maul to show up in this film. This should be a very personal film. Flesh out Kenobi because he's very conflicted about Anakin's fall after Episode 3. This is why Yoda sent him to Tatooine for training, with Qui-Gon and all that. Because in the books, some of these books I read, Qui-Gon is talking to him because Ben Kenobi feels responsible for Anakin's fall. And Qui-Gon's trying to tell him that it's not his fault that Anakin made his own choice. So if we get something like that, I think that would be pretty good. And that's something I'm looking forward to a lot. As long as it actually gets confirmed and not swept under the rug. And obviously, Ewan McGregor to come back. I mean, if there's anyone else playing Kenobi, will not watch this movie. It's just a fact. Apparently, at the moment, it's undecided whether this will be the film that follows Episode 9. But it's exciting news nonetheless. So, we've got a whole bunch of books here that could very well be the groundwork for a Kenobi film. This is a book I got, I think, for my birthday sometime in the past. It's called The Life and Legend of Obi-Wan Kenobi. Finished this in a week, maybe less. Everything from Phantom Menace to Revenge of the Sith to even after Vader strikes him down. And of course, people are like, "Oh, I want to see Vader in this film." I'm like, no. This needs to be a personal film about inner conflict. No Death Stars, no Vader, no lightsabers. You're supposed to be in hiding, people. If he was going after Vader, someone's going to find him. And you're going to take him out. That's why you know we're in hiding. They're supposed to be, people aren't supposed to know where they are. Empire's looking for him. Why would he go after Vader head on? Knowing that Vader's going to be looking for him because he wants to kill him, get revenge for what he did on Mustafar. Why the hell would Ben Kenobi go after Vader by himself versus staying and watching with a one hope for the galaxy? Guys got to think. Doesn't make any sense for Vader to show up in his movie. Sure, you can mention him by name, but Vader and Kenobi do not need to clash in this film. That's the thing with these stupid prequels. They're just going to rewrite things that have already been said and done. I mean, like, I was watching Collider Jedi Council, and this one dude was like, "Oh, Kenobi," and Vader said in Return of the Jedi that Obi-Wan once thought as you do, and all this other crap. Like, and he's always believed in Anakin. It's nothing new, you know. It's just the master believing in his apprentice. He believes he can come back until he can't. Then Luke believes he can come back and actually saves him. So it's nothing to really look into too much. You can't take that kind of stuff literally. It's a freaking line of dialogue. So it's not worth. There's no story there. Understand? There's no story in lines of dialogue. I made the Kessler one in less than 12 parsecs. There's no story there. He did it. That's all that matters. I used to shoot womp rats in my T-15 back home in Baker's Canyon. There's no story there. He did it. It's in the past. Let it go. There's no story there. But yeah, I remember zipping through this book pretty fast. People already know this much about me, but yeah, Kenobi is one of the best. He's not my favorite, but I like him enough that I would watch a smaller scale story about him. I don't need lightsabers to be ignited in every freaking Star Wars film. There's enough, the galaxy's large enough that you can branch out and do different things. Old Republic. And this book, Kenobi from Expanding Universe, is barely in it from what I've actually read of it. Well, it was not that much, actually. Look, even here. It says, until the time is right, disappear we will. From Yoda, the Revenge of the Sith. So if they're going to disappear, why the F would Kenobi go after Vader? Knowing that Vader has the entire Empire behind him. If Kenobi gives his spot away, Vader's going to come after him. He's going to take him down. And Kenobi got lucky on Mustafar chopping him up, but when Vader's like determined, no one can stop him. I'm sorry, there's nothing Kenobi can possibly do by himself. Especially if Vader has like an entire army of stormtroopers behind him. Brings a couple troops with him to Tatooine or whatever. Kenobi's not going to be able to stop him by himself. This book is more about kind of a mixture of things. Like Kenobi's in it, just not as much as I thought. This is the kind of story that I think they should do. This is more about, so he's known so local as Ben. Something about Tusken Raiders. Yeah, like I said, it should be a smaller scale film. Not everything needs to be about blasters and hokey religions and ancient weapons, stuff like that. And make it a personal story, I think we'll have a successful film in our hands. This is the series I was talking about, The Last of the Jedi. It takes place between episode 3 and 4. That's Ferris Olin from the Jedi Quest series, one of Anakin's old rivals back at the temple. Ferris left the Order before Order 66, so he was in hiding. So he gave up his lightsaber and all that and left the Order. So he was nowhere near those troopers when people were being executed. Which would give me hope if Kenobi does get lured out away from Tatooine and ends up going on a stress call or something. He winds up finding another Jedi Knight that happens to survive Order 66. Like in Force Unleashed, General Coda didn't have clones in his squad. So he survived Order 66 because he was nowhere, in the main lines, the front lines or whatever. I'm just saying that was really cool to see, I think. I'm just glad that Disney is finally starting to branch out. And hopefully this will be the first of other interesting stories to come. Okay, the one thing I learned from Rogue Zero is that you really can't base a movie, an actual feature-length film, on, 3 sentences of dialogue and opening crawl. It's a mistake. And the movie stunk. But, this is why you don't make prequels based on 3 sentences of dialogue. Oh, wait, I almost forgot about the Han Solo film. That's based on lines of dialogue that have no actual meaning, right? And when that fails, Disney will realize their mistake too late. Now just be able to say, do it yourself. And then we got this, Secrets of the Jedi. One of my favorites, actually. And Kenobi actually kind of falls for another apprentice. Her name was Siri, girl with a purple lightsaber. She was in the Clone Wars. She was in episode 2 for about 3 seconds. And then she never gets shown again. Because she's probably one of the main actors got killed. They don't see each other until after they're Padawans. She leaves him. She runs away or something. They're at the temple. And she says, I hope they don't see each other for a long time. That's the last time we saw her. So, in a way, Kenobi understands what Anakin was going through. I mean, he's not the first one to fall for a girl as a Jedi. I'm like, this is why I never understood why it's a big deal that he likes the girl. Like, we wanted to be other things or something. Like, you want to be like a freaking monk. Like, people do see what Padme looks like, right? I mean, I don't know if I could be able to resist either. It's not the passion people should be worried about. It's the attachment. That's the problem with the Jedi Code overall. It's they tell you about forbidden love. Like, no, love is what saved Vader in the end. Love was what Ben Kenobi has for Anakin as a brother figure. I don't know if as a son, maybe? I don't know. I never saw him as brothers. Not even the prequels. The Clone Wars series, sure, I guess. But it's kind of disjointed. It's not that well done. Yeah, I guess they could be seen as brothers. I guess. But yeah. Here's the Jedi Quest series. Some of the books, anyway. 7, 8, and 10. These stories I've always wanted to see as well. McGregor is super young enough. They could go back to the past and do a couple, I don't want to say movies, but TV show? Or if anything, just keep the Obi-Wan Anakin series comic book going. Because this is really good. It really goes into the backstory. Shows their bond, how unique it is. How Kenobi is really struggling to keep this kid, on the path of the light. Also shows Palpatine getting into Anakin's head a little bit more, whispering in his ear and all that stuff, which I've always found to be fascinating as a concept, which is why I'm kind of shocked that Episode 7 would miss out on that opportunity to actually show what the hell happened to Kylo Ren and why he fell. Because if we don't know why he fell, he can't be redeemed. No one's going to believe him. That's the problem. If you don't know the cause, there can be no effect. Understand? It's pretty simple logic. And this is current history, I guess, or whatever you want to call it. See, Luke finds his journal, and it details some of the adventures of Kenobi on Tatooine. And that right there, the picture I just showed you, is a Wookiee that's sent to take him out. And at the beginning of some of these comics are snippets from that journal. It includes young Luke, and Kenobi's basically always saving him. So, and Luke only knows him as Ben, so. He doesn't really use his lightsaber. He usually relies more on his wits, because again, he isn't hiding. So, there's no Vader in these at all. Just how it should be. If you have to have him get into a conflict, send a bounty hunter after him or something. Like, I don't need Vader in every single one of these damn spin-offs. Because that's just, it's too easy. It's just going to turn into a crutch. And when you do that with this kind of series, it's going to get really stale really fast. Which has always been my concern about Star Wars every freaking year. Because it's not special anymore. Even with the prequels, there's never been a bigger weight for Star Wars than Phantom Menace. Other than maybe Force Awakens, I guess. But still. It was pretty big for me because, what was I, 13 when Phantom Menace came out? Same age as Jake Lloyd, who played young Anakin. I thought it was actually pretty good in the role. I mean, like, what are you really going to do as a kid actor, you know? Not his fault. If you don't like him, fine, but, you know, don't blame the kid. When it comes down to it, none of you fans can do any better. So crying about it doesn't really help. And I made a comment on Collider Jedi Council, whatever it's called. And I'm like, Owen Lars would be a better antagonist for Kenobi for this film. I guess it depends how long it is, but if it's like an hour and change, it doesn't need to be long at all. If it's an hour and change, you could do a little inner conflict with Kenobi and Owen Lars. Because it's quite clear, even in the original film, he doesn't like Kenobi that much at all. He's even telling Luke all these different tales about his dad. That's not even true. So obviously there's been something going on. You could see that in some of these new comics. But yeah, Owen Lars needs to be the antagonist. Don't need Vader. They wasted Maul in that garbage cartoon. So unfortunately a big screen rematch, which would have been cool to see after all this time, would have been really cool to see Darth Maul show up on the big screen versus being chopped up by old ass Kenobi in that garbage Star Wars cartoon. Ugh, I hate that show. Yeah. So it's not clear what I said before. I am excited for this. Like, this is the one movie I actually wanted to see. I really want to come to pass. Whether or not it happens, yet to be seen. Well, yeah. See this right here. I remember reading this. This could be the story for this Kenobi film. Might have to change the title. But because even in this book right here, Kenobi's conflicted. That's his thing. He blames himself for Anakin falling to the dark side. I guess not seeing it coming and not being able to stop it. And like, so when Vader says that Obi-Wan once thought as you did, he's probably referring to that. Because Obi-Wan always believed in him. When everybody else was saying, oh, you can't be on the council, Obi was always there staying at his side. Even though Anakin was always clouded, had his feeling clouded judgment with his anger and all that. Kenobi was always staying at his side. So that's what he meant. He's not talking about Kenobi coming up against him again before the original film. He's talking about when he was Anakin. Obi-Wan once thought as you did. You know, like, oh, we had another fight before he met you or something. I'm like, no. He's talking about when he was Anakin before he fell. I mean, like, you can even see in the fight in episode 3. It's like, oh, he's telling Anakin, like, oh, Chancellor Palpatine's evil and all that stuff. That's what he's talking about. Obi-Wan once thought that he could save me, but he couldn't. And now you're trying to save me, Luke, and you can't, except you did. That's what he's talking about. Like, there's no story there. Like, you gotta stop looking at every little damn thing. There's no story there. This is the one with the Ferris Owen I was talking about. In about 10 more minutes of this live stream. In this series, like I said, he gets lured out into another mission. Desperate mission. And I think in this one, there's like a cave, a dark side cave or something that encounters Vader's spirit or something. Some kind of warning, I don't know. I don't think I ever read this one. Yeah, here it is. Along the way to discover some incredible news. Obi-Wan and Yoda are not the only Jedi to have survived the Emperor's annihilation of the Order. There's at least one other, and he is hiding in the caves of Ilum, a place where nightmares become reality and dark mornings tell the conflicts yet to come. Yeah, Ilum. It's a planet, snow planet, where the Jedi crystals are harvested. Actually, Count Dooku destroyed one of those caves in the Clone Wars because he was a Jedi once and wanted to cripple any future Jedi from getting lightsabers. Just like the dual weapon of a Jedi Knight. So Yeah, he destroyed one of those caves and somehow wiped out the entire planet from existence or whatever, like an attack of clones. Now, I've always wanted to see more stories between Anakin and Kenobi in the Clone Wars era. That's a very critical point in their history, like in this comic here. Just really fleshes out that relationship that really wasn't done that well on screen. As much as I like the prequels, even I gotta admit, some things could have been done a lot better, especially that relationship. Kind of poorly done. I really think about it. Just not that much depth. So it's really hard for me to care sometimes. I mean, I guess Hayden Christian could show up in the Kenobi film in a flashback or something. Though I can't see much more than that because actors are older now. It'll be hard for me to see them as the younger Anakin now. Sure, you could pull off. The still look exactly the same, but you know. So it's a Mickey Mouse now. There's like some things that should not have been left out of the films in general. Like when Anakin killed those Tusken Raiders, should have been shown. Should have been rated PG-13. Should have shown every last bit of that sequence. That's important stuff. Release an extended cut like Lord of the Rings if you have to, but that kind of stuff needs to be shown. At least in my opinion. But yeah. Apparently the Ben Kenobi thing hasn't been confirmed, although according to the article I showed, the announcement that it's being developed. They have a director lined up, so they have some kind of script in the works. Something's getting done. So that's what I'm going to be waiting for. I'm not watching Last Jedi, not watching Not Solo. I'll be too busy watching Infinity War. But this I'll wait for. It should be worth the wait. As long as they're smart about it. So that's it for this episode of Star Wars Discussions. I'm Peter Parker signing out.